decision today following the consideration of second electricity tariff revision of this year produced by the Electricity Board and the views and proposals presented by the general public during the past period. Accordingly, electricity charges for domestic units, religious places, hotels, industries, common amenities and state institutions will be reduced. Although the Electricity Board has restricted the tariff reduction up to 10%, the Public Utilities Commission has reduced it significantly up to 22.5%. Accordingly, the charge of 8 rupees per unit for the 30 units category has been reduced up to 6 rupees. The 150 rupees monthly fee of this category has also decreased up to 100 rupees. For the 31 to 60 units category, the 20 rupee per unit charge has been decreased up to 9 rupees. Their 300 rupee monthly fee has also been reduced to 250 rupees. For the consumers using 61 to 90 units, the 30 rupee charge per unit has decreased up to 18 rupees. For the 91 to 120 units category, the 50 rupees charge per unit will be decreased up to 30 rupees. The consumers using 121 to 180 units per month will have 8 rupees reduction per unit. Accordingly, 50 rupees charge will go down to 42 rupees. For the category over 180 units, the 75 rupee charge per unit has been reduced up to 65 rupees. The monthly fee between 60 units to 180 units remains unchanged. Accordingly, the domestic consumer under 30 units who pay 390 rupees bill per month will decrease up to 280 rupees. The 60 units category consumers who pay 1,140 rupees at present will have a bill amounting to 700 rupees. The monthly bill of the 90 unit category will come down from the existing 2,800 rupees up to 1,840 rupees. The bill of the consumers 120 units will be deducted from the existing 4,900 rupees to 3,340 rupees. The monthly bill of the 150 units category consumers will be slashed to 5,100 rupees. Consumers who use 180 units at present will have a bill of 6,360 rupees instead of existing 8,400 rupees. The 8 and 9 rupee charge per unit for low consuming religious places so far have been reduced up to 6 rupees. The 18 rupee per unit charge has decreased up to 10 rupees and the 32 rupee per unit charge to 20 rupees. The 43 rupee per unit charge has now been reduced up to 30 rupees. The monthly fee of the religious places has also been reduced. For the industries and hotel category, the existing 37 rupees, 30 rupees and 50 cents and 25 rupees and 50 cents charge per unit have been reduced up to 30 rupees and 50 cents and 18 rupees respectively. The monthly fee of this category remains unchanged. The existing 55 rupees, 45 rupees and 37 rupees each unit charged from the government institutions and common amenities have been reduced up to 46 rupees and 75 cents, 38 rupees and 25 cents and 31 rupees and 45 cents respectively. Accordingly, the domestic category enjoys a 27% reduction and religious places a 30% reduction. The decrease of hotel and industrial segments is about 25% and public institutions enjoy a decrease of 22.5%. With the new tariff revision, the Public Utilities Commission has imposed 7 conditions to the Ceylon Electricity Board. Accordingly, the board should take measures to sign agreements with the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation is purchasing fuel for power generation. In addition, it should issue printed electricity bills when the electricity consumers demand.
The Supreme Court today decided to dismiss the petition filed by lawyer Arunalaksiri Unawatana preventing the holding of the presidential election without considering. In fact, the Supreme Court also ordered the petitioner to pay a cost of 500,000 rupees as case fee. Well, this case was filed requesting to prevent holding of the presidential election until it was passed by a referendum, since it has not properly been passed under the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. The petition was considered by a 3-member panel of judges, including Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya, Arjuna Obesekara and Priyantha Fernando. The Supreme Court alleged that the petitioner, as a lawyer, has attempted to mislead courts. Deputy Solicitor General Kanishka De Silva, appearing for the Attorney General, says that the petitioner has challenged the legitimacy of the 19th Amendment. It has already been passed in Parliament and the Speaker has signed it. Such a law cannot be challenged under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. According to the Parliamentary Privileges Act, such a petition cannot be filed. On the other hand, the petitioner has failed to challenge it at the very outset. Therefore, the Deputy Solicitor General requested the Supreme Court to dismiss the petition at the preliminary stage. The petitioner said that the 19th Amendment to the Constitution should be passed with a two-thirds majority in Parliament by a referendum. He added that when it was passed in 2015, it was not done in a proper manner. Then Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya said that the Parliament recommended it in pursuant of the judgment given by the Supreme Court. He also stressed that the petitioner, as a lawyer, should act in a responsible manner in such a lawsuit. The Chief Justice questioned the petitioner whether the Supreme Court's decision with regard to the 19th Amendment is illegal. Then the petitioner admitted that the Supreme Court's decision is legal. Then the Chief Justice considered the matters presented by both parties, decided to dismiss the petition without considering the case. Fee of 500,000 should be paid before the 31st of this month, he said.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the importance of a political culture that prioritizes the nation over traditional politics for the country's advancement. President Ranil Wickremesinghe made this statement during a recent meeting at the Presidential Secretariat with a group of lawyers. He underscored that all political leaders, both in government and opposition, bear significant responsibility and must support initiatives aimed at improving the national economy. The President emphasized that everyone has the right to engage in politics, but no one should undermine the economic framework essential for the country's advancement. He highlighted that recent strikes, including those preceding the upcoming presidential election after the agreement with the International Monetary Fund was signed, were politically motivated. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that we are currently implementing agreements with the International Monetary Fund, Official Creditors Committee for Sri Lanka, China Exim Bank and private creditors. We cannot afford to make different promises. Engaging in old politics is no longer an option, and we recognize that. For the country to progress, economic transformation toward a modern export-oriented economy is essential. Our goal is to increase the GDP from $85 billion to $350 billion by 2048, achievable through diligent efforts. Countries like Singapore and Vietnam have achieved development by maintaining consistency in their policies. In politics, our focus should be on establishing fundamental stability. In Parliament, diverse opinions may arise, but advancing the country's economic framework is crucial. Many today seek to undermine this framework. Despite recent strikes coinciding with the upcoming presidential election in September and October, there is no need for strikes. He said that if dissatisfied with one party, voters can choose another. Efforts to destabilize the economic framework were opposed by the people. Now we must affirm the country's achievements and determine whether to chart a new course or maintain the current system. He said that it is important to acknowledge that your presence here today is a tremendous strength. Let's unite to advance the country. Let's set aside party politics for the next 5 years. He said that let's acknowledge the political changes in our country and work together to build our future. We cannot remain a nation reliant on begging indefinitely. He said that it's crucial to uplift the country economically and foster a strong economy. He said that we invite everyone to join hands in fulfilling this responsibility and thanking for being there today. Minister of Education Cecil Premchand said that it should be noted that Parliament has not seen as many new bills and amendments in any other two-year period in its history, as it has in these past 2 years. Under the President's program, more new bills and amendments will be necessary in the future. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri said that Ranil Wickremesinghe did not impose conditions, that even during his tenure as Finance Minister, he provided guidance without self-interest, solely focusing on the country's situation. Consequently, he has formulated an economic framework today that has proven successful, evident from the results we have witnessed. Yet, no one has stepped forward with alternatives beyond criticism. He said that it is imperative to safeguard the economic foundation laid by the President from collapsing. Therefore, he said that he urged everyone to support this program and collaborate in nation-building effort.
The public consent for the government has trebled at present. This has been revealed by the latest results of a research conducted island-wide by Verite Research under the title How the Country Thinks. Well, the survey revealed that the approval rating of the government more than tripled to 24% in July, up from 7% in February 2024. Current economic conditions were rated as either good or excellent by 28% of respondents, marking a threefold increase from 9% in February 2024. The share of the people who believe that the country's economic conditions are getting better has also tripled, and also with 30% of respondents holding this view, up to 9% in February 2024. The positivity in July 2024 is around the same level or little higher than it was in June 2023, which is the highest level recorded since January 2022.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa says that the only party that can build up and develop the country is the SLPP. He made these remarks addressing the party's Nathandi electoral meeting held yesterday. State Minister Ashoka Priyantha has organized this meeting. A number of public representatives of the party were present at this occasion. State Minister Ashoka Priyantha said that there are some shortcomings in some areas. However, they will correct all these lapses. He added that they are ready to accept their fault and will be ready to take a correct stance. That some of their members gave up the party and some councillors evaded their responsibilities. He said, however, receiving a ministry under the new government, a better service is being given to the general public.
ඒකයි දේශපාලනේ ලබන්නට ඕන පන්නරේ බැරි වෙලේ දාලා යන එක අමාරු වෙලේ අතහැරලා පැත්තකට දාන එක අනිත් අය විවේචනය කරන එක අනිත් අය චෝදනා කර කර පැත්තකටලා ඉන්න එක නෙමෙයි ප්‍රාදේශ සභාවක්වත් නොකරපු සමුපකාරකවත් බලයක් පිළිබඳව අවබෝධයක් නැති අය ආණ්ඩු පිළිබඳව විවේචනය කර ගමේ සමිතියක්වත් කරන්න බෑ සමහර අය.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa said that he believes that the young generation is merged with technology. Some were misled by the political elements that spread lies. As the accepted and most widespread political party, we have the responsibility to educate the general public of the country. We believe that under our party mechanism, we can win any election in future.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says that the 1 million new entrepreneurs will be created in the Mannar district. He made these remarks at a rally held yesterday. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says that the SJB will take the measures to develop the tourism industry in the Mannar district, which is full of natural resources. The industrial network in this area will be further strengthened by starting industrial towns at divisional secretariat level. Information technology parks will be set up at divisional secretariat level. 1 million new entrepreneurs will be created from the Mannar district as new business startups.
Executive Committee member of the National People's Power, Nalinda Jayatissa, says that it is ridiculous that the elements who criticized Sajith Premadasa during the past presidential election are now praising and supporting him. He made these remarks at a public rally held in Panadura yesterday. Executive Committee member of the National People's Power, Nalinda Jayatissa, said that at the last presidential election, they said that as Gotabe's rival, Sajith is weak, has no personality and not far-sighted. Now they are with Sajith and say that Sajith is great. We wonder whether Sajith is different now. Sajith is in a worse mindset than in the last election. Now these people are hanging around Sajith not because Sajith is good, but to benefit a parliamentary seat through Sajith. He further reiterated that the National People's Power would never get the support of such opportunists.
370 drivers and conductors as well in the Sri Lanka Transport Board were provided with appointment letters today under the patronage of Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena. Well, the ceremony was held at the Sambuddhatta Jayanti Mandire Auditorium in Colombo. They should be appointed to existing driver and conductor vacancies in the SLTB depots in the Western Province. With these appointments, the outstation employees working in the Western Province for over 10 years will be able to have transfers to their native areas. Newly appointed drivers and conductors will have to work compulsorily for 3 years in a depot within the Western Province. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena stated that no change will be made in the decision even due to political influence. Minister Dr. Bandul Gunawardena says that if Transport Board cannot earn profits after 2025, it will have to be privatized or closed down. According to the agreement we have signed with the IMF, SLTB should be maintained in a profitable manner. We have to maintain the IMF agreement until the year 2042. If we go to a political change or experiments, country would economically collapse again and there would be no electricity, fuel and food again.
My apologies. The trade union action started by the university non-academic staff is to be suspended from today. The relevant trade union representatives took this decision following a discussion held with the Minister of Education. This discussion was held with the participation of trade union representatives, Minister of Education Cecil Premchand and Chairman of the University Grants Commission Professor Sampath Amaratunga. Minister Cecil Premchand said that Independent Joint Trade Unions Forum agreed to end the strike today under several conditions. They will report for duty from tomorrow. In the meantime, their professional problems will be solved under the agreement signed. National organizer of the Independent Joint Trade Unions Forum, Tushara Sanjeeva Pereira, said that they ended the strike, which has continued for 75 years. He added that they have achieved a positive target in solving their problems. The authorities have agreed in writing to solve their problems. The relevant allowances can be obtained by next year's budget.
Well, the leader of the Exat Janaraja Front, Patali Champika Ranavaka, says that the people should take correct decisions without being misled by political storms. He made these remarks at the Colombo District Summit of his party. Well, the summit was held at the NYSC Auditorium in Maharagam yesterday under the patronage of Patali Champika Ranavaka. The leader of the Exat Janaraja Front, Patali Champika Ranavaka, says that many people ask him why he should not join with the opposition leader. Our party has presented an open program to him. The opposition leader is yet to respond for that. However, distributing reliefs and various items is not the proper governance, he says.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that the most important link of the public service is the local governance. He made these remarks at a ceremony held in Temple Trees today. Permanent appointments were given to casual, substitute, contract and relief basis employees working in the local government bodies in the Western Province. 1,720 such employees received appointment letters from the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the government has been able to achieve many goals during this period. One of the goals is that you all are receiving permanent appointments. State Minister Janaka Wakkumara said that these new employees did not organize street protests or any other objections. We have to work hard to build up the collapsed country. Governor of the Western Province, Marshal of the Air Force, Roshan Gunatilaka, said that the new employees usually work even on holidays. Therefore, your service should be praised.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted the history of the Urume program, which was initiated in 2002 and 2003, but was subsequently halted due to a court action. And he emphasized that if the program had been implemented 20 years ago, the people of this country could have been granted free land rights earlier. The President further stated that judicial power remains within the Parliament and reiterated his long-standing view that the judiciary should not interfere with the executive powers of Parliament. The President made these remarks while participating in the Urume Freehold Land Deeds program aimed at providing 2 million freehold land deeds held at the Mahayangana Public Stadium yesterday. During this event, 662 individuals from Badula district were awarded freehold land deeds, with President Wickremesinghe symbolically presenting some of the deeds. Simultaneously, the President provided sports equipment to 4 schools in the Badula district and inaugurated the newly constructed main auditorium of the Mahayangana Public Stadium. The President says that he believed if they would not sell their land, but eventually people began to expect land rights. This necessitated a new land law to provide these lands under the Land Development Ordinance. He said that he presented the draft law, but the Supreme Court ruled that the referendum was necessary to pass such legislation. If we had the opportunity to implement that program way back then, we could have confirmed freehold land rights for the people 20 years ago, he says. However, foreign investors were later given free land instead. If it was possible to allocate government land to the Shangri-La Hotel under the Land Ordinance, why can't he, as the President, grant land rights to 2 million people? Some have warned that this matter will go to court, but it's important to remember that the authority lies not with the court but with the Parliament. He said that he always maintained that the judiciary should not interfere with the executive power of Parliament. He said that the government took the land from the people to build the Kothmale Reservoir and the Theldenia Reservoir, relocating those affected in these areas. These lands belong to you. Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva says that the President Wickremesinghe has taken on significant responsibilities during the challenging period of the country, introducing many new concepts for narrow political gain but for the country's benefit. He has put politics aside, making right decisions for the country's future, and he said that the country needs a fearless, debt-free leader, and President Wickremesinghe has proven to be such a leader, and he stabilized the collapsing economy, provided fertilizer and fuel to farmers, and made determined efforts for the country's welfare. Minister Harin Fernando says that in the midst of crisis, the people of Mahayangana didn't anticipate grand gestures. Farmers simply sought fertilizer and fuel. The land deed you will receive today is not insignificant. It is your heritage, intended to be passed down to future generations. The program was named Urume because it signifies passing on its legacy. It is not driven by political motives. I urge the government officials not to politicize this program, and doing so would unjustly harm the people.
එතුමා එහෙම කරන්න එතුමාගේ උමනාවක් නැහැ. එතම රජ නිලධාරීන්ගෙන් ඉල්ලනවා කරුණා කළා මේක දේශපාලනේ ගාව ගන්න එපා. ගොඩක් කට්ටිය එහෙම නැහැ. මම දන්නවා සමහර කට්ටිය මේක ඕන කරලා හිතාමතා ප්‍රමාදයටපත් කරනවා.
State Minister Chamara Sampath Dasanayake says that the Urume Freehold Land Deed program, initiated as a part of the President's budget proposal, has become a reality, starting with the first program in Dambulla. This initiative will grant freehold deeds to over 66,000 people in the Badulla district. On behalf of the people of Badulla, we extend our gratitude to the President for this effort. Uva Provincial Governor A.J. Musamil, President Chief of Staff Sagal Ratnayaka, and several others were present on this occasion. Well, the Korean embassy in Sri Lanka will spearhead another chapter of the Korean Ambassadors Cup Taekwondo Championship and also the K-Pop World Festival celebrating Korea Week 2024 today at the Bandaranaike Memorial International Conference Hall in Colombo. Well, the final rounds of the Korean Ambassadors Cup Taekwondo Championship that is set to commence at 2:30 p.m. will be graced by the Korean Ambassador Myeon Lee, Tourism Sports Minister and Youth Minister Harin Fernando, and the Kukiwon Dispatch Taekwondo Master Kisu Lee. Following the Taekwondo competition, the K-Pop World Festival will commence thereafter at 5:30 p.m. graced by Ambassador Myeon Lee and Buddhisasan Religious and Cultural Affairs Minister Vidur Wickremesinghe. The final rounds of the Korean Ambassadors Cup Taekwondo Championship that is set to commence at 2:30 p.m. will be graced by Korean Ambassador Myeon Lee, Tourism, Sports and Youth Affairs Minister Harin Fernando, and the Kukiwon Dispatch Taekwondo Master Kisu Lee. Following the competition, the K-Pop World Festival will commence thereafter.
The national ceremony to offer outright deeds to 50,000 apartment housing unit owners will be held at the Sukadadasa Indoor Stadium in Colombo on the 17th of this month. This program has been implemented under the budget proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. A media briefing was held at the Government Information Department in this connection. Secretary to the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing, W.S. Satyananda, said that these title deeds will be usually issued to the original tenant of the housing unit. When selecting the original tenant, several factors are to be considered. If the first receiver of the housing unit is deceased, the spouse of his or hers will be selected. If the spouse is deceased, the person with most legal entitlement will be identified. The officials of the Urban Development Authority and the National Housing Development Authority will select the recipient in the most justifiable and legal manner. Chairman of the National Housing Development Authority, Rajiv Suryarachi, said that they have targeted to grant about 34,000 outright deeds of the housing units located outside Colombo by mid next year. A national level ceremony in this connection will be held on the 17th of this month.
116,000 scholarships are to be awarded for the year 2024 under the Presidential Scholarship Program, which is implemented according to the concept of President Ranil Wickremesinghe for the upliftment of the education of children of the underprivileged. Well, accordingly, 824 million rupees have been allocated for the scholarship program, which will be providing 6,000 rupees per month for 24 months to 6,000 students studying for the GC A levels. Additionally, 3,600 billion rupees have been allocated for a scholarship program that grants 3,000 rupees per month for 12 months to 100,000 students from grade 1 to 11. In addition, 288 million been allocated for scholarship program offered to student monks, Silamata, and also lay students studying in Piriven and Silamata Educational Institutes. Furthermore, 720 billion rupees being allocated for the scholarship program jointly offered by the Regulatory Commission and the President's Fund for students studying telecommunication as a subject for the A-level examination. Accordingly, in addition to the existing scholarship programs, more than 5,000 million rupees allocated for students for these scholarship programs.
The Supreme Court orders the culprits of the Easter Sunday attacks to pay their relevant compensations before the 30th of August. If they fail to do so, they would be sued under the contempt of court before the 20th of September. The Supreme Court has ordered former President Maithripala Sirisena, former IGP Pooja Jayasundara and former head of the Intelligence Service Nilantha Jayawardena to pay compensations for Easter Sunday victims. Former President Maithripala Sirisena informed the court that he has paid 58 million rupees from his amount of 100 million rupees. He requested a period of 6 years to pay the balance. Colombo Additional Magistrate today ordered the further consideration of evidence of the case against former Minister Mervyn Silva and 3 others on the 23rd of September. There were charges against illegal entrance to the Rupavahini Corporation premises and behaving violently in 2007. It was scheduled cross-questioned and one of the witnesses, TMG Chandrasekhara. However, the respondents were not ready for that and the case will be resummoned on the 23rd of September. IGP Deshbandhu Thenakul says that the final drama of the organised criminal gangs is being played at present. He made this comment at a media briefing held today. IGP Deshbandhu Thenakul said that the criminal gangs are fighting each other, killing their rivals. When a leading criminal was killed, the rival gang would become stronger. These days, they are playing the final scene of their drama. Police have started operations against the crime gangs with very effective plans. Police have identified about 800 underworld gangs during the past period. They will be eliminated within few months. Therefore, people should live without fear and suspicion, respecting the existing law. And that's all the news we have from home. Stay tuned for international stories coming up next.
Welcome back to the news, and we move on to news overseas, heading straight away to the US. Well, Donald Trump says that he will bring the country together at the Republican convention on Thursday. The 2024 Republican National Convention will kick off later today and run until Thursday. Once every 4 years, the Republican and Democratic parties host conventions to formally select their respective presidential candidate to prepare for the final stretch of campaigning. During the convention, the delegates from each state pledge their support to the candidate of their choice and approve the platform. Trump is expected to speak on Thursday night. Meanwhile, the director of Secret Service has released a statement, and in it, she says security plans for the Republican National Convention this week have been reviewed.
Kamuda macang, prima kotumi fantamai.
Now, the annual summit of the International Cricket Council is to be held in Sri Lanka in this month.
Well, this is the first time the summit is held in an Asian region. 188 ICC member countries will take part in this summit, which is held from the 19th to the 29th of this month. Sri Lanka Cricket announced today that 220 representatives will take part in this event.
Kamuda macang, prima kotumi fantamai.
Well, that's news, and do enjoy the rest of the programs together with Dilanjali. This is Clifford wishing you a good night.
Good night.